I'm back.
Yo, Denali. Nice job snagging first. Good morning. Sorry, just testing, making sure everything's working like it's supposed to. Pretty pumped for game news today. How are we doing this morning? Welcome in, chat. I'm 15 minutes late. That's okay. We'll just have to suffer together. Look, it's Coconut Mall. What could possibly go wrong now?
Hello? What's that?
Yo, Bass Guru! What's up? What's going on, dude? Good to see you. Okay. I think we're good. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. A little chaotic with the Coconut Mall blasting, but hey, it's a good track. It's good for focus, apparently. Good to see you all this morning. I hope you are having a great week so far. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Yeah, we got game news this morning. Quite a few things to talk about. The title are more PlayStation games heading to Xbox. We'll get to that momentarily, but let's jump in on a few things. How are you guys doing? Let me know in chat while we activate news mode so that the channel points don't pester me the whole time. I know how you guys are. I appreciate the channel points. We're gonna revamp them, like cut them down significantly, but the ones we're keeping are the good ones. Pester. I said what I said, sir. Did I stutter? Dang, Base Guru with 101 firsts. Denali at 66 and Callistic with 55. And Dan's like 2. Zeke got 1. I hope Zeke's doing alright. I hadn't heard from him in a while. Guys, we're 11 followers away from 600. Share the stream out on a specific app, but share the stream out with anybody. TikTok, we're gunning for 1K. We're getting there, slowly but surely. But hey, I appreciate you being here. All right, now I think we're good to start. Let me pull up the chat so I can feature the relevant chats. Zeke hit the posture check. Good morning, dude. Good to see you. Just talking about you. Let's see. News mode is active. Let's hit the news cam. We're not gonna jam out to Coconut Mall the whole time. We're gonna grab the synth wave. That's the news music. This is the news music. It's much more chill. I can focus a little better. It's not as distracting, but welcome in, guys. Hey, as the title said, are more PlayStation games coming to Xbox? Let's find out. We got quite a few game news stories to cover. Good to see you all in chat. I may not be as responsive, but we'll try to feature as many messages as possible as long as they're on topic. So yeah, let's jump into the game news and see what's new. 1 month and 15 days for Pokemon, dude. Yes. 1 month and 15 days for Pokemon ZA. I'm so excited, dude. I'm like ready to play. I hope it's really good. But let's jump in. Let's start with Game Pass. We got our Wave 1 September games for Xbox Game Pass. Obviously Silksong. That's like tomorrow. We've got Roadcraft, I Am Your Beast, Cataclysmo, Paw Patrol, you know, game of the year right there, and 9 Souls. I don't know what I Am Your Beast is, but apparently it's an FPS. 9 Souls looks cool. Apparently it is also a Metroidvania style game, but the art looks cool, so we'll check it out. Maybe on stream, maybe not. I don't know, probably not. We don't vary that much here. But it is something I might check out. But yes, this looks like a pretty solid month. I mean, Silksong is carrying Game Pass hardcore this month. I'm going to play on Xbox. I still probably will buy the game. I need to buy the OG Hollow Knight. I've only played it on Game Pass, but I really love the game. I think it's totally worth it on any platform. But I'll probably buy it on Xbox because it's play anywhere. Oh, you know, I have no visual. You guys can't even see. RIP. Well, there it is. All right. My bad. I wasn't ready to. I'm running behind today. Anyway. All right. So Silksong, Roadcraft, I Am Your Beast, Cataclysmo, Paw Patrol World, and 9 Souls. We can see again. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Z. It's how it goes. One day I'll get my life together. It won't be today. Anyway. So yeah, a good month for Game Pass. Like I said, Silksong's gonna be carrying it for the longest. I'm excited though. I'm excited. Silksong's gonna be great. It's gonna break the internet. Hopefully, it dominates the sales charts. All right, let's move on. All right. Well, you know, usually when we're in the middle of a generation, we get upgrades in terms of models and slim down designs and slight improvements to like power supplies, things that don't affect performance but make the console cheaper overall. And this generation has gotten interesting because now we've got a new PlayStation 5 coming with less storage for the digital version of the PS5. That is weird because that is integrated storage. You can't upgrade. There's no hope of upgrading it. You can only add in your own NVMe drive on a PS5. So what's the play here? Well, a new report claims that a new PS5 Digital Edition will be released later this month, but with reduced storage capability or capacity. The report outlines that the console revision CFI 2100 will still retail at the standard €499 price point. That's it. It's to keep the cost right at the $500 mark. That's all this comes down to. You want to see the Game Pass sub increase stats after Silksong? I am also curious if there's a jump. But this report comes from data miner and JSON sniffer Bill Kuhn of Deal Labs, who has an accurate history of scraping yet unannounced information and data from store websites. Therefore, we believe the information is legitimate. And then they go to talk about PlayStation console revisions. I don't think we need to jump into that. I think I want to focus on the fact that we're in a generation now where we're talking about the next hardware. We've gotten a slim version of this PS5 already, and it is a better looking console than the launch model. But we're now getting like a downgrade for the same price. And I think that's what this is going to come down to, is they're just trying to keep that price from going up. And so the solution is then downgrade some of the stuff that users can pay to upgrade later. And honestly, it's probably a little cheaper to buy an NVMe drive for your PS5 to upgrade, to upgrade the internal storage than it is to buy like for them to do like a 1 or 2 or a 2 terabyte. I guess a full 1 terabyte as well would have been nice, but yeah, it's kind of weird that they're doing this, but I guess it's to keep costs in line. That's what it looks like. So very odd, very unusual, but not that surprising when you consider. So yeah, sorry, something's acting weird over here. I'm making sure it wasn't broken. Like buying a pre-owned cheap car and buying stuff to fix it up. Yes. Yep. But yeah, so odd generation this has been so far. All right, let's move. All right, let's talk about Call of Duty. Call of Duty is getting a live action movie from Paramount. Studio promises the same disciplined, uncompromising commitment to excellence as Top Gun Maverick. I wish they had committed to the disciplined, uncompromising commitment to excellence as Top Gun Maverick for Halo. You'll have to excuse my caution here. But apparently Paramount and Activision are teaming up to bring Call of Duty to the big screen with a live-action movie, and this time it might actually happen. The company said in a shared announcement on Tuesday that Paramount will develop, produce, and distribute a live-action feature film based on Activision's Call of Duty that's designed to thrill its massive global fan base by delivering on the hallmarks of what fans love about the iconic series, while boldly expanding the franchise to entirely new audiences. David Ellison, chairman and CEO of Paramount, heaped praise on the Call of Duty franchise while also boasting his gaming bona fides, saying in a statement, "As a lifelong fan of Call of Duty, this is truly a dream come true. From the first Allied campaigns of the original Call of Duty through Modern Warfare and Black Ops, I've spent countless hours playing this franchise that I absolutely love." Well, that's good news. Ellison said Paramount's approaching adaptation of Call of Duty brand with the same discipline, uncompromising commitment to excellence that guided our work on Top Gun Maverick, ensuring it meets the exceptionally high standards that this franchise and its fans deserve. I can promise that we are resolute in our mission to deliver a cinematic experience that honors the legacy of this one-in-a-million brand, thrilling longtime fans of Call of Duty while captivating a whole new generation. So yeah, that's, interesting. I wonder if they're going to do like a Modern Warfare story, Black Ops story. Could be interesting. Those are two very good ones. Could they just retell like the OG Call of Duty? It's gonna be interesting. The approach they use. What COD are they using as the base? I don't know. That's a good point. I have no clue. It's very odd. But I guess it'll be good. I don't know, guys. The Halo series was not good. It was so disappointing to watch. Visually, it was fine, but the story and direction just did not appeal to me at all as a Halo fan. And so I would hope that the Call of Duty movie maybe gets better treatment than the Halo series did. But that's where I'll leave that. But more on Call of Duty. Maybe we're allowed to. Call of Duty HQ is slashing its file size below 100 gigs in the next update, and here's how it works. And all I can say about this before I read on is finally they're getting this together. It says if you're a player of Call of Duty, chances are the file size of the game is one of the nagging annoyances you've had to deal with every time there's an update or a new game for the franchise is released. Activision appears to be separating its mainline Call of Duty games from Call of Duty HQ. The upcoming update version 1.80 will take it one step further. It will also drastically reduce the file size of the main game, albeit with a caveat. It's a bit confusing on how it works, given that Call of Duty HQ comprises Warzone and a bunch of other Call of Duty games. So the latest information about the file size changes comes from reliable data miner, PlayStation Game Size, who mentioned that patch 1.8 has been uploaded to the back end of the PlayStation Network, which is not new when it comes to patches for Call of Duty games. Once the update is applied, players can expect the COD HQ app to be reduced to less than 100 gigs, though this is without multiplayer. Using the latest Call of Duty game as an example, Black Ops 6, here's how it works, as explained to us by PlayStation Game Size. So before the patch, if you don't own Black Ops 6, you need to download 125 gig plus Warzone pack around 30 gigs to play Warzone. You also need to download an additional 125 gigs to play multiplayer. After the patch, if you don't own Black Ops 6, there's a base 25 gig download for the COD HQ app itself. Then you need to get the 30 gig Warzone pack. Total file size will be 55 gigs just to play Warzone. This is fantastic. Rocket, what's up, dude? Thanks for the likes. Do you use zombies because it has a story? That could be interesting for the movie. This is great, though. If you're just a Warzone player, 55 gigs is in line with Fortnite and Apex, as far as Battle Royales go. That's awesome. However, if you own Black Ops 6, you got to download 40 gigs to play multiplayer. Total file size will be around 65 gigs to play multiplayer. Total file size for the whole experience, that's the base app, the multiplayer stuff, and Warzone being installed, 95 gigs. Bravo. Bravo. It only took you guys like 10 years to figure this out, how to reduce the file size. But bravo. I'm excited to see this. Gonna be happy with Nintendo games that are 8 gigs and has the whole game already on it. Same. 99.5 gigs. Dude, it's close. It's 95 gigs. I'm just telling you, as someone who has installed Call of Duty off and on, I'm tired of having to delete stuff to make room for Call of Duty. For me to play for 10 minutes ago, okay, you know what? I've got my fill of this. Now, Black Ops 6 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed playing Team Deathmatch. I hate playing Warzone. I like Battle Royales. I hate Warzone. It is not fun. I don't know how anybody enjoys Warzone. Everything's too slow and clunky, and you die too quick. It's not a fun BR. And I may catch some heat for that. But you guys are lying to yourself if you are having fun with Warzone. And I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm just saying there are other games that do Battle Royale so much better than Warzone. And they rhyme with Fortnite and Apex Legends, because those are far better. It says, while Activision hasn't mentioned when the update's dropping, it's sometime this coming week, given it's already been preloaded on the PSN. If we use the past update deployment times as a reference point, it should be out anytime between Tuesday to Thursday. Assuming it will fall on Wednesday, September 3rd, since that's when Call of Duty Studios release seasonal updates. Expect gameplay adjustments, bug fixes, and the like to be part of the patch as well. So yeah, that's great though. Like if you really only play Warzone, and again, you can like it, that's fine. You like bad games, and that's okay. But if you like Warzone, you now can save, 50 gigs on your install. I think that's pretty grand. I like that. That's a whole other game that you don't have to delete on the next update. But anyway, that's kind of cool. It's good to see that file sizes are finally coming down. They probably figured out how to optimize a lot of the game files, along with removing the single player requirements from being in the Call of Duty HQ app. I mean, it makes sense. Finally, let's decouple the single player from all the multiplayer stuff, and just this is steps in that direction, I hope. All right, let's move on. All right, I thought this was cool. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 devs will explore Nintendo Switch 2 possibility. The Switch 2 has opened up all manner of possibilities for gamers and Nintendo itself, with Clay Obscure Expedition 33 being one of 2025's biggest and best games. It would only be fitting if the Switch 2 could welcome the Game of the Year contender to the console. It could already be 2025's Game of the Year. That's how revered and successful it is. It's the highest rated release this year, and a wider reach could introduce even more players to its unreal world. While it's anything but official, a new quote from its developer suggests all hope isn't lost. Hey, Will, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. Ha ye indeed. Dude, 39-month sub streak. Let's go, man. Thank you so much. Chaotix, good to see you. Navi, thanks for joining. But is it coming? Well, Nintendoros has reported that Sandfall Interactive isn't ruling out bringing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 to the Switch 2 console. We have some possibilities that we will explore, but at the moment, we cannot confirm anything. Was the company's official response when prompted by Nintendoros on a Switch 2 port. Reports are circulating that many developers are struggling to get Switch 2 dev kits. This understandably holds back many games and is likely to delay a ton of future third-party ports to the Switch 2. With Sandfall not ruling out Clair Obscure Switch 2, this could be the reason why an announcement is taking so long. We'll keep you updated on the situation and developments of a future Switch 2 version. Yeah, that's kind of the crux of it. I don't know if we talked about it or not here on Game News, but dev kits are hard to come by for indie devs and third-party devs for the Switch 2, and so that's holding up game development. Oh my gosh, dude, did you just drop 5,000 bits? Will, what are you doing? Couldn't join in the pre-birthday streams, have some belated bits. Dude, thank you so much, man. Let's go. Hey, you got the 25k bit badge. Congrats, dude. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. Thank you for the support. Sorry to derail the news, but I can't ignore stuff like that. That's huge. That's huge. That's awesome. Thank you so much. What a blessing. All right, back to the news. But yes, I think this game would do well on Switch 2, especially with Final Fantasy VII Remake incoming. We've got a ton of RPGs on Switch 2 already. We've got Persona 3 launching later. There's room for more RPGs on the Switch 2, and I think this would be a great one to drop in there, if only because it will be very much liked and people will be very excited to play it. So I think it's worth it. It's good to check out. Yeah, hopefully that happens. Hopefully they can get a dev kit because those are apparently hard to get. Let's move on. All right, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds getting a free demo following end of network test. I'm really looking forward to this game, and that's the only reason I included it here. But the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds open network test was the game's first proper hands-on opportunity. Don't cry because it's over, smile that it happened. Or if that doesn't work, you can always enjoy the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds demo speeding your way. This isn't Sonic's first foray into the kart racers. Team Sonic Racing performed very well and clearly well enough to warrant a full sequel. Well, I mean, you also had Sonic Racing All-Stars and Transformed. Like, those were great. Alright, anyway. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is that very sequel, and it just had its open network test. These types of tests are common and easy way to ascertain a multiplayer title's online connectivity and stability. The beta is finished, meaning if you didn't get a chance to log in, you've missed this window. But as one door closes, another opens. So apparently we're getting a demo. We've learned that CrossWorlds is debuting a new single-player demo in mid-September, thanks to the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter page. CrossWorlds Open Network test has officially ended. Thanks everyone for participating. And in case you missed it, a single-player demo will be released in mid-September. Hope you keep coming back for more races, said the page in a September 2 message. September's a busy month. Okay. Anyway, cool. I'm glad we're getting a demo. I really like where this game's headed. I did the first network test they did. Had a lot of fun. Didn't get a chance to play the new one that they just concluded this weekend. But the game's coming out. It's fully cross-platform, fully cross-play. I'm very excited for it. I like good racing games, and I like the Sonic series. So this looks like a good combination. All of the other Sonic racing games have been very fun. So why wouldn't I enjoy this one either? That's kind of my thing. Like, I'm very much looking forward to what's next with this game, and they're adding so many different characters and franchises into the mix. It looks to be very fun, very well built. If it's Sumo Digital making the game, which it has been previously, they make a fantastic racing game, and so I just hope they keep getting better and better. But I'm excited for this. I hope people want to play it. I'll be picking it up, hopefully at launch, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We might check out the demo on stream and then see what the community's opinions are. All right, let's move on. Let's catch up with chat. Switch is my opinion best console for RPGs because the fact you can take it places you don't need internet playing. Yes, exactly. All right, let's talk about Marvel Rivals. PS4 debut could be happening. It's claimed a reputable social media has found traces of the first Marvel Rivals PS4 update. It's long been suspected that a PS4 version of the superhero shooter would happen eventually. Thanks to Star-Lord, it seems to be coming. Marvel Rivals has been a huge hit for NetEase games. It's surprising, really, as Marvel fans are insatiable for the hero shooter and anything Marvel related in general. It takes the best of Overwatch and sprinkles in its own flair and features to make an excellent free-to-play shooter. Many people still haven't made the step up to current-gen hardware, and if you're a PS4 user, it might be good news for you. According to PlayStation Game Size, who we talked about earlier with the COD update, this has been uncovered. Marvel Rivals Update 01.01 released. PS4 version. This would suggest the first update and patch notes for Marvel Rivals debut on PS4. This is the most recent update on the port, and the X page posted on August 13th. When another message indicating the port was happening, Marvel Rivals -PS4. So Rivals on PS4 still feels like reality more than a dream, and if you're a last gen owner, you finally get to see what the fuss is all about. Also, I'd hazard to guess that if Marvel Rivals is coming to older PlayStation hardware, then Xbox One owners might also be in luck. Worried about the game's performance, but let's hope it holds up. Stay tuned for updates and details. So, yes, I've seen rumors of this for a long time, but if there's a build that's sitting on PlayStation servers waiting to basically go live, that would make sense. Hopefully, in a time where we're seeing last gen support being cut off and ended for a handful of games so far, seeing last gen get more support for a very popular game, I mean, that makes sense. If they've got a build working that is fun to play, performance wise it holds up, it can maintain at least 60 FPS, which I think is like, PS4 and Xbox One's maximum anyway, that would be great. I think it would give a lot more people access to the game while they maybe wait to upgrade to a PS5, or maybe they're holding out for a PS6. Who knows? But I hope it happens, and I hope last gen players do get to experience Marvel Rivals, because it's a very fun game. I haven't played it in a while, but it is very fun. All right, let's move on. All right, Ubisoft reminds us that they have Rayman, reaffirms that it's working on the future of Rayman. Ubisoft has announced that its teams at Ubisoft Montpellier and Ubisoft Milan are working on the future of Rayman. The news was announced in a new video uploaded by the official Rayman Twitter account, marking the celebration of Rayman's 30th anniversary. Man, I cannot read today. In the video, it was said that the two studios are currently working together on the future of Rayman, but fans shouldn't expect news from us too soon. This is making an announcement way too early. So I don't necessarily want to know much else. Well, it says here, October 24, Insider Gaming exclusively reported that development began on a Rayman remake under the codename Steambot. Though I do not have too much information on the news, it's understood to be tentatively targeting a late 2026 release date, as the project has been going incredibly well, according to those familiar with the game's development. So if that happens, hey, awesome. It'd be nice to have more Rayman out there. Platformers are on a bit of a resurgence lately, and that's awesome. Working on Rayman for the 17th year in a row. KH4 early announcement energy. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, well, where is it? But yes, it's like, yes, it exists, and we're currently making it. But we also were excited for the Perfect Dark remake, and while it's not related because those are different studios and different situations, announcing your games too early gets everybody hyped for nothing, and then you cancel them and make everybody mad. So really, you're only hurting yourself and your fan base by doing this. There's no benefit to reminding us that you own the Rayman IP and there are more games coming. I mean, seriously, give me one benefit in chat. Anyway, I am looking forward to another Rayman. I really enjoyed the recent Rayman games. What was that? Rayman Legends? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it was a side-scrolly one. It wasn't the 3D ones. It was very fun. Very, very cool art style. It was on like last gen and Xbox 360. And then they did like a sequel too. It was all good. Anyway, very fun. Very much looking forward to it. Hopefully we get a trailer in the next year. I don't know, too soon. Expect news from us too soon. Sounds like 2027, 2028. They'll be ready to talk about it. Hopefully. We'll find out. All right, let's move on. Oh yeah, speaking of Perfect Dark and games that were announced way too early, Perfect Dark reportedly could have been saved after cancellation. The reboot done by Crystal Dynamics, The Initiative, and Xbox was cancelled earlier this July, out of the blue. Given the game's well-received gameplay trailer and excitement, many were disappointed in the news. Plus, with last week's layoffs, it felt like a nail in the coffin for the classic shooter from Rare. Sadly, it does look like any chance of the game coming out has been silenced. Take-Two could have released Perfect Dark, but declined. According to the report from industry insider Jason Schreier for Bloomberg, Crystal Dynamics cut staff last week because they were unable to secure a deal with a new publisher for Perfect Dark. Embracer, which owns Crystal Dynamics, was reportedly close to striking a deal with Take-Two Interactive. If it went through, the publisher would have bought the game from Xbox and then seen the game to completion. Sadly, the talks ceased due to Perfect Dark's ownership, though exact details were not disclosed. Along with cancellation of Perfect Dark, its studio, The Initiative, also closed down. However, the report also states that leadership from the studio and Crystal Dynamics have been trying to get a publisher for the last 2 months. While negotiations did happen with a few, Take-Two was the furthest along. While chances for Perfect Dark to return are seemingly unlikely, it could see the light of day. Tango Gameworks, which Xbox shut down after the success of Hi-Fi Rush, was bought by Krafton and can work on their IPs again. Whether the initiative meets that same fate is unknown, but it all depends on the IP of Perfect Dark and if the rights can be purchased. So, yeah, I found that kind of surprising when I saw this yesterday. Basically, it could have been released by Take-Two, but I think the IP ownership, the negotiations being basically all handled by Crystal Dynamics, but still having to defer to Microsoft leadership and that whole tangled web of corporate stuff. It just probably makes it not as appealing to try to approach this. But it would be cool if somebody could snag it and release it at all, give us some new info. It seemed to be further along than what we all thought it was. But maybe there was just there's a reason it got canceled, right? You know, I'm still bummed that it got canceled, but there could have been a reason beyond cutting costs, right? We have to consider that. But hey, if they can find a publisher and somebody to take on the cost of the project, more power to them. I hope it works out. All right, let's move on. All right, the most lavish indie drop of the year just skipped Xbox entirely. I thought this was interesting from Windows Central. Xbox players helped make Blueprints a hit and got left out of the Collector's Edition. So there's a Collector's Edition coming out, and it's only on PlayStation so far, from what I can tell. Yo, Harold, what's up, dude? Thanks for the gifts over on TikTok. Appreciate you being here. I hope you're having a great day, my dude. So I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Blueprints, my favorite indie game of the year, and the reason I had to stage my own personal intervention, has just announced a physical edition, and it's beautiful, lavish, obsessively detailed. Everything you'd expect from a game that made you stare at room layouts and wonder if the direction of those dining room chairs means something. But alas, it's for PS5 only, despite Blueprints launching on Xbox GamePass, and arguably making the platform have its strongest quarter in recent memory, alongside Claire Obscure Expedition 33. The physical release has completely skipped Xbox. The Blueprints Physical Collector's Edition in partnership with IM8-Bit is available to pre-order now. To be clear, Xbox players can still buy some of the collector's items separately, but the main bundle, the one that saves you money and wraps everything up in a nice package, is just for PS5, and I'm baffled and sad. Let's talk about what's inside, because it's genuinely one of the most exciting physical drops I've ever seen. Standard Retail Edition, which is just the PS5 game, with a fold-out 8x12 poster of Mount Holly. The price of this is unannounced. Then there's the real juicy stuff. Let's see. Oh, there's a whole list of things. Okay. The IM8-Bit Exclusive Edition has the PS5 game with an O-sleeve, fold-out poster. Day one pre-order includes digital soundtrack. Picture book, the Red Prince picture book, hardbound, cloth-wrapped replica from the game, illustrated by Maria Majorova. Game accurate dimensions, interesting. Keychain blind bag series 1 of 12 random replica keys crafted from in-game 3D models. That's kind of cool. Basement key replica. Velvet cushion box and acrylic display stand. That's nice. Mount Holly and Rogue Moon pin set. Premium hard enamel pins, high quality backer card. Interesting. Mount Holly Estate Notebook, faux leather hardcover, lined graph paper, debossed crest cover. That's cool. And then the commissary bundle includes PS5 game, picture book, basement key, pin set, notebook, one blind bag keychain, and a $10 coupon for future Blueprints products. Interesting. That, if you really like Blueprints, that's a solid collector's edition. Like, it hits all the boxes. It's a collector's dream. The basement key alone is an eye-watering $46, but a full-scale replica of possibly the most important key in the game, at least for the money, it doesn't disappear from your inventory the next day. The blind bag keychains could have been as maddening as tracking down the Sanctum keys, but at least IM8-Bit has given us the option to purchase all 6 outright, which guarantees different keys. Particularly intrigued by the offer of a $10 coupon for future Blueprints items, which means further merchandise will be coming, maybe a copy of the Blueprints book or some ivory dice. There are a lot of in-game items to use for inspiration. But again, no Xbox disc. I don't know the player numbers, but I'd like to think Game Pass helped with Blueprints' breakout moment, even if it's the quintessential perfect Steam Deck game. Blueprints even has a rocky history on PlayStation. There was a notorious bug that wiped people's save files when they were well over 100 in-game days into their playthrough. It was so severe that it was a running joke within the community, and it wasn't patched successfully until late May. Maybe this physical launch is an olive branch to the PlayStation audience. And the author goes on to say, I'm whining, but I'm buying some of it anyway. Who knows, maybe Xbox will get a physical launch later on, especially if more items are being teased for the site. This could just be testing the waters for how hungry players are for a physical release. Either way, I'll still be grabbing some of the items. That's fair. I just think it's kind of a bummer when you like have a game like this that has such a huge following, or such a dedicated following, I should say. And they're on all sorts of platforms, but your like best collector's bundle is a PS5 exclusive. It's kind of weird, but maybe it's just down to numbers. There are just more PlayStation players overall, and more potential PlayStation buyers overall, and that's what informed them to release that physical version only on PS5. Maybe it was also cheaper for I Am 8-bit. I don't know. I truly don't know. Kind of a bummer. But when I saw this, I was like, dang, that collector's edition is nice. I wanted to feature it here. If you do want to pick it up, check out I Am 8-bit. I think the whole thing is pre-orderable now. It wasn't super cheap, though. I mean, 150 bucks. It's a good game. Is it that good of a game? It depends on how you feel about it. But I think it'd be worth it. Anyway, I'm moving on. All right, let's get to the title topic, after, 36 minutes of me rambling. PlayStation's Helldivers 2 lands the top spot on the Xbox Store. Could more be on the way? Jez Gordon writes, PlayStation Xbox have been playing nice this summer, and this latest sales milestone might be a good indicator for what could happen next. PlayStation and Xbox are cozying up more than ever, and its latest sales milestone suggests the love-in may go even deeper. Over the past couple of years, Xbox has been quite controversially putting its flagship titles on the PlayStation consoles. Many, myself included, thought this could sound the Xbox hardware ecosystem's death knell. Why buy an Xbox console if it doesn't have exclusive games? Is Microsoft intentionally winding down the Xbox hardware ecosystem? Fast forward 2 years, and it seems those fears were largely unfounded, at least for now. Xbox reported to shareholders that it has more console players than ever, and while hardware sales have declined from the launch year peak, Xbox cloud gaming has buoyed the footprint of Microsoft's console-based development ecosystem. Microsoft has expanded its gaming operation horizontally across to mobile via acquisitions, and is working hard to improve the Xbox PC experience on Windows as well. Arch-rival PlayStation has sat up and noticed too. Increasingly, it seems gamers are content to simply stay where they are and identify with service games more and more. As the audience for cinematic single-player titles matures and remains largely static, sorry guys, I like them, but people younger than me tend not to. To that end, PlayStation began following Xbox on putting its games onto Steam, and now has even begun putting its games onto Xbox directly. Helldivers 2 was the first PlayStation Publishing LLC title to hit Xbox, and its performance will likely inform Sony on how to proceed. Indeed, early signs for Helldivers 2 on Xbox are looking incredibly promising. So it hits number 1. It's a co-op shooter with Starship Troopers vibe. Players drop into chaotic war zone squads of 4. Helldivers 2 shares some clear DNA with the likes of Halo, particularly ODST, whose sci-fi alien hunting vibes at least superficially intersect with Helldivers. Microsoft and PlayStation cleverly capitalized on this with a Halo-inspired DLC pack for the game to celebrate the partnership. Whether or not Xbox fans will get more games like this remains wholly up in the air. Naturally, if Helldivers 2 had been a total flop on Xbox, it would have been fair to assume PlayStation wouldn't move ahead with publishing more. But it certainly seems like Helldivers 2 has been a lucrative outing on Xbox so far. The Xbox dashboard and website ranks the top free and top paid games on the console platform, and as shared by Clobrel on Twitter, Helldivers 2 landed the coveted United States #1 spot today, beating out the likes of NBA 2K26, Madden, Black Myth Wukong, and Minecraft. Helldivers 2 and its Super Citizen Edition, that's the one I bought, both have listings high on the charts and in various other Xbox territories, including the United Kingdom. So interesting. Game launched on Xbox. The player count surged, but mostly because people were coming back to the game on all the other platforms that have been playing it for the last year. But the player count still surged, and now the game is at the #1 spot on the Xbox Store in the US, which is huge, because this is kind of what we saw when Microsoft was putting their games on PlayStation. The top PlayStation games, I think, still are, at least in the top 10, many of them are Microsoft published titles. They are Xbox titles that were moved to PlayStation or later released on PlayStation within the last couple of years and are doing very well. So we're kind of seeing the opposite of that. Well, I guess we're seeing the same thing, just on the opposite side on Xbox, where we have a PlayStation game releases and does very well because, hey, just people want to play games and they don't want to have to buy hardware to play a specific game anymore, We just want to play games. It was always likely that Helldivers 2 would over-index, beating average Xbox attach rates potentially. Xbox has a long storied tradition of delivering shooters from Halo to Gears of War, and the Halo adjacency in general is hard to overlook. Microsoft has of course put Gears of War onto PlayStation as well this summer, as well as other various titles including Indiana Jones, Forza Horizon. The sales boom of Xbox titles on PlayStation helped Microsoft Gaming achieve significant growth last quarter, and Sony has to be considering how it can capitalize in a similar way. And then the next section of this article, Sony would make dollars porting older games to Xbox without harming PlayStation. PlayStation's back catalog has some of the greatest games of the past 2 generations, but it's pretty clear that they've sold all that they possibly could sell on existing platforms like PC and PlayStation. With gamers habitually more comfortable than ever to simply stay where they are, Sony is undoubtedly exploring ways it could extract value out of the passionate and stubborn Xbox console base. It might be smaller overall than Nintendo, Steam, and PlayStation, but Xbox users are heavily engaged and clearly eager to buy a banger or two. Shooter-oriented games like Days Gone, Returnal, or The Last of Us would undoubtedly sell like hotcakes on Xbox, if Helldivers 2 is any indication. The Last of Us has also expanded into a hit TV show in recent years, giving it some extra buoyancy potentially for Xbox sales. Obviously, Spider-Man and God of War would also do fantastically well on Xbox, but it wouldn't be a surprise to see Sony hang on to some of its biggest franchises as differentiators for its platform. But honestly, would moving Spider-Man or God of War even hurt PlayStation at this point? With the vast majority of playtime hours being devoured by titles like Fortnite and Roblox, the addressable audience for these types of cinematic experiences seems to be diminished by and large. With competition for free time more aggressive than ever, cutting through the noise with the biggest multi-platform launchpad possible seems to give the best chances for success. Sony's been signaling to investors for some time it wants to move away from PlayStation hardware centricity. Microsoft is undoubtedly gearing up to put Halo itself on the PlayStation in the near future. Is PlayStation just hurting itself by continuing to hold back? So that's where the article is. And that's kind of where my stance is. Like, why would you keep hanging on to games that might sell a few, maybe a few thousand a month? Let's be generous, Spider-Man 1 PS4 sales are stopped. Like, people aren't buying it, and if they are, it's not very many. So put it on Xbox, recoup a lot of the cost of the franchising and the franchise fees and the licensing fees that Insomniac undoubtedly had to pay Marvel to make this game, and continues having to pay Marvel because of Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. And instead, put it on Xbox, and recoup the cost or offset it a little bit and get extra sales that you weren't getting anyway. It makes so much financial sense for PlayStation to just start putting out games on Xbox, just like they did Helldivers 2. Need to play Helldivers 2? Just need people to play with Zeke. Hit me up, dude. I played on Monday night. We didn't play last night. Played on Monday night on stream, and it's a blast. I would be happy to play with you. But yes, this would make total sense. Even if they did digital only releases, did no physical versions on Xbox, they would sell very well. Right? I have no doubt that people would eat up Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and Spider-Man on Xbox. Like, that's games that people like. They're good games. The sell-through on the PlayStation has come and gone. People aren't going to buy it now. They've already bought it. They own it. They don't want to buy it again. And so I think it makes the most sense that they just start publishing. We see both publishers seeing lots of success cross-promoting, cross-publishing. So why not? The only company that has a foothold in exclusive friends is Nintendo, because they have stuff like Mario and Zelda and Pikmin. No, it's true, because they're very protective of their IPs, and they won't go third party at all. I don't see that happening. However, PlayStation and Xbox could release on Switch too, and sell even more games. Like, it just would make so much sense. Nintendo can have their exclusives. They'll be fine. Nobody's worried about Nintendo. I'm not even worried about PlayStation or Xbox as companies. I'm more concerned with, like, just what kind of games are coming out? Are these studios able to like stay open? Are they able to make the games they want to make? Or is everybody just going to keep having to convert to live service and multiplayer experiences, and the single player stories just go away? Whereas if they just can sell these games to everybody on no matter what platform you're on, you have more people buying, more purchasing power coming through. You know, there's a lot more people coming in. What if Xbox added a PlayStation tier to Game Pass? Yes, that would be interesting. Like a PS Plus tier, that would be wild. Or if PlayStation Plus added a Game Pass tier, you know, and if you link your accounts, you know, that would never happen, but it would be epic to hear. It'd be epic to see roll out. I mean, you know, we got EA Play or EA Access or whatever it is on Game Pass Ultimate, so they could work out something. But yes, I think this makes the most sense. This game doing numbers is going to have Sony executives looking at all of these other games and going, hey, can we sell more copies of this game to Xbox players? Can we sell people on, you know, Last of Us remastered remake 17th edition Xbox version? You know, and they could. People would buy Last of Us 1 and 2 on Xbox because they haven't been sold the game before. You know, so like that makes the most sense, right? We're going to see it. It's going to be interesting. I don't know when it's happening, but I'm excited to see it coming. It's going to be wild. The rollout is going to be crazy. All right. Well, we got a few more stories to cover. Speaking of Helldivers 2, the new update, Into the Unjust, just dropped. But there's some performance issues. Let's read the article. Following its announcement last week, the colossal Into the Unjust update for Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Game Studios' massively popular and award-winning 2024 co-op shooter, has officially released in-game. It went live on Tuesday morning and tasked players across Xbox, Windows, and PS5 to charge right into the heart of the Terminid bug's gloom-infested worlds. It's truly a huge patch, and the biggest since the Illuminates' invasion of Super-Earth. A new Rupture strain of Terminids can now burrow underground in combat. There are underground subterranean missions that largely take place in tunnels, and require vastly different tactics due to extremely limited options for air support and resupply. There are some truly terrifying boss units like Dragon Roaches and Hive Lords, and more. But while the contents of the update itself are incredibly exciting, its release has also seen a recent major issue with Helldivers 2 exacerbated, one that's ruining fun for many fans of the game, making it very difficult to enjoy everything in the new patch. Issues performance and poor optimization, which has become an increasingly prevalent concern over the course of the co-op shooter's several recent updates. Since the new patch went live, there have been widespread reports of significant bugs, not the kind we get to shoot, performance problems, and crashes. For performance issues, that means there will be a lore reason for it, probably. Several top posts on Helldivers subreddit right now have thousands of upvotes and comments from players on all platforms complaining about everything from extreme frame rate drops to frequent crashing when trying to launch a mission, along with glitches causing enemies to become invincible or the complete loss of all in-game audio. Oh dear. Also been quite a bit of frustration with Helldivers 2's ever-growing file size on PC, with the game now over 140 gigs after the latest patch. Well, it's almost double the size of the title's original 70 to 80 gig storage requirement. Performance is even worse, lol. Went from 120 FPS to 15 during a bug breach, wrote one disgruntled Helldiver in regards to how abruptly performance intensive the game becomes when the Terminids call for reinforcements. You guys getting into missions? My CPU spikes and crashes my PC as soon as I load onto the destroyer. Game's literally unplayable. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Here we go. Developers have assured fans they're being heard and they're hard at work putting together fixes and improvements for everything mentioned above. 100% get it. Performance is something we talked about a ton today. It's not good enough. Let's see. A fix for some of the most immediate things is being prepped. They went on to confirm that the size problem is also being looked at right now. Hopefully Helldivers 2 will get a size reduction in the future as well. Ultimately, it's reassuring Arrowhead is looking to seriously address the issues plaguing the experience right now, though in the same vein, it's also frustrating that it took things getting this bad for major refinements to come. And that's kind of gaming in a nutshell, though, right? We're at a point now where hey, if it's broken, we'll just fix it later instead of optimizing it for launch. So, yeah, they definitely need to update. They need to optimize the game. A lot of devs need to optimize their games a little more. Back in the days of like cartridge games, NES, Super NES, Genesis, N64, right? The major players through the cartridge titles had very little resources to work with. And while games do have some incredible bugs, older games have some incredible bugs to find and deal with, most of us had good experiences. Now you get a game and it's like, why is the frame rate dropping? And all I'm doing is walking around. And it's like, you didn't optimize the game. You were rushed through something, and now the game is suffering. The player experience sucks. It could be better. So it's cool to see that they're going to fix it, but I'm just kind of burned out by seeing, hey, we launched a thing, it was bad, but we're fixing it, I promise. It's like, hey, I believe that you're fixing it. I have no doubt that they will fix it. But how did you launch it in the state that it launched in? I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird to me. If I put my name on something, I want it to be as good as it can. Mistakes happen. We started the live stream off today. It was rough. We didn't, the first story, you guys couldn't see what I was talking about for the first 30 seconds, a minute of me ranting. But at least it was minimal, It's like I fixed it. But with games, it's like, you guys work on this for weeks, months. I don't understand how you look at that and go, yeah, but we're up against a deadline. It's like, okay, you're up against a deadline, but if people can't play it, what good is releasing it? Right? So tired of weak launches. Dude, Nero, nail on the head, man. I'm also tired of issues plaguing game launches. Server issues, frame rate issues, anything. It's like, there's no way you guys didn't know this was a problem. There's zero chance that they were completely unaware, And I'm not saying just Arrowhead in this instance. This is just the latest example of it. There's just zero chance you're just completely blindsided by these issues. Just saying. All right, let's move on. Before I get too angry, let's talk about some Switch stuff. Switch Online's mature N64 app expands this week with another title, Forsaken N64. We won't watch the trailer because it could be spooky and I don't know. But Acclaim Entertainment title released on N64 98, developed by Iguana UK, will be arriving for the Switch and Switch 2 online service on September 4th, tomorrow. Here's the official Nintendo description. Yes, keep in mind you'll need to have an active NSO. Yes, okay, so this is important because, and I think it's our next story, maybe our last story? Yes, okay, so Forsaken was one of those titles that people were like, hey, that's a blurry Smash Bros. Art and DK64 art and Forsaken art in the background of this tutorial video or whatever. Could Smash Bros. Be coming to NSO? Well, Forsaken is confirmed. So, do the other ones exist? More than likely. But that's where this article comes in from VGC. Nintendo's latest Switch Online news could have just confirmed a major leak. Forsaken, the next NSO game, previously appeared among other unannounced titles. So, Nintendo's latest Switch Online game announcement might have just confirmed a potential leak of upcoming N64 games from earlier this summer. Which, if you guys remember, we talked about this. The Game Explain, Andre, they talked about how the blurred background here is like, this is box art from games that are not on NSO yet. And it exploded. People were talking about it. And they lined up the blurs and made it all work, and they did the math, so to speak. So, Forsaken being one of those titles, does that mean we're getting Smash Bros. And DK64 on NSO? I think it's likely. I think it's very likely. I don't think it may be through the end of the year, but maybe that's a early next year release for NSO. February, right before Pokemon Day. And then they'll announce, Game Freak will announce that all the classic GB and GBA Pokemon titles are releasing onto NSO as well. In my pipe dream headcanon land, where all of this is good. And I get exactly what I want. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm just kidding. See, all the bad Nintendo does this morning, I would like to say, they release completed games with good DLCs, excluding Pokemon games, but DLCs were amazing. Yes, agreed. Even Sword and Shield, as much hate as it gets, is one of my most favorite Pokemon titles. And the DLC is part of that reason. Like, the DLC was just very fun. And I enjoyed doing it, playing through it. The DLC for Scarlet and Violet, I like that DLC better than the base game. You know, I think those titles deserve... That DLC deserves some recognition for how it kind of saved the game overall for me and made it much better. Much better experience than the base game. I had way more fun doing the DLC for Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, I think Nintendo releases solid games without major issues. Sometimes they do. I remember when Mario Kart 7 released, there were some issues on the 3DS that they patched pretty quickly. But that's one example from the 3DS that I can think of. You know, I can't think of any Switch examples or Switch 2 examples, you know, of games released that have major functional issues outside of Pokemon. Pokemon notwithstanding, because that's Game Freak development. That's not Nintendo. I'm talking Nintendo in-house developed games tend to launch pretty good, stable, playable, without major issues, and I think that's something to be commended. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving the game news today. I've gone over my time limit that I have. I need to be getting to work, but I'm not going to fool with any raids or anything today. I'm just gonna wind it down here. Scarlet and Violet DLC felt like it should have been part of the base game. How good the DLC was. It really felt like it should have been the base game, and they delayed it and then shrank the scope of it. But yes. That's where I'm going to leave it today. You guys let me know what you think of any of these articles. If you're watching this after the fact, thanks for checking out the video. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching this right now live, hit the like button. Share the video with somebody. We need more views. We're trying to get YouTube watch time. Still gunning for that 3K watch hours. We get up real close to the edge, and then we drop off a little bit. Then we get close again. So if we could just get some more shares, likes, any kind of support. We're also gunning for 1K on TikTok. 1K followers on TikTok would be awesome. And we're really close to 600 on Twitch. And if you're on any other platform, hey, thanks for being there. But those are the 3 that we need to focus on, right? Like, all the others are good, but watch me on other platforms too. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless. Have a great day. And I will see y'all tomorrow night. We'll be playing Mario Kart World with Smart Alec Plays. It's going to be a great time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, love you. Bye.